Okay, so I had a couple requests to do C with the table method, just because C can be a little bit tricky actually, because it's not really following the same rules per se. Like you can't really use FOIL. You have to either kind of, because there's no first or last. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of with FOIL with this one, because there's not four things. It's just you end up getting six things out at the end, right? So it's a little bit different. So that's what's nice about the table method, or knowing at least all three of them, is you could pick which one you kind of want to use for each question, right? So for binomials, I would probably use just like FOIL or expansion. But for something like C, actually, the table method might actually be best, and that's maybe my job, like my fault for not doing that yesterday. So I'll do this example, and then I'll do a couple from the homework, and then we'll see how everybody's feeling after that. So I just need this question. It is x minus 1 so it's x minus 1 multiplied up against x squared minus x plus 1. Okay, and yesterday I said, okay, well, you can draw a table, right? A 2 by 3 table, we'll call it. Okay, and then along the top, you're going to write x and minus 1, and then you're going to write x squared negative x and positive 1. Okay, and then your job is just to fill in the inside of the table, all these pieces, right? So what you want to ask yourself is, what is x squared multiplied by x? Well, when you do that, it turns out that it's x cubed, and that comes from power laws, which we'll do. That'll be probably our next unit, where if I multiply things of the same base, see how these are called bases, the x is the base, and then I have exponents. But when I multiply things of the same base together, I add the exponents and it becomes x cubed. That's what's going on there. Okay, so that's this piece here. So that's the first rainbow. That's x times x squared. And then the second one, I have to do the same thing, except it's going to be x multiplied by, well, let's fill out the table, and then I can identify where all these are coming from. So the next one we're going to do is going to be x squared multiplied by negative 1. Well, that should just be anything times 1 is going to be itself, but then this one has a negative on it, so it's just going to be negative x squared, right? And then I just keep doing that as I go down. I keep identifying what the two things are that I'm multiplying. I'm now done with this row, the first row, and now I'm going to go to the second row. Negative x times x, right? It's for the same reason here. This is going to be, oops. So I have x to the 1 multiplied by x to the 1. Well, I'm going to add the exponents there, right? And I'm going to get x, negative x, because there's a negative out front, right? That's from right there. X squared. So that's what goes right here. Okay. And you just keep going, and you keep identifying what it is you're multiplying by, or what by what, and you're filling out the inside of the table, right? I'll get rid of some of these. Okay, and so I can go, we'll just keep going, and then I'll do the last two quickly. So negative x multiplied by negative 1, two negatives make a positive, so I know that the sign inside this box has to be positive because of the two minuses, but then x times 1 is just x, so that's nice. And then I'm going to do positive 1 multiplied by x, and that is just x, and positive 1 times negative 1 is going to be negative 1. Okay, so that's it. Now you fill the inside of the table out. Now your job is just to simply take all the terms that are in here and rewrite them in a line. So you should get 6 things, right? So we'll call this step 1 for doing questions like this. And this will be step 2. Step 2 will be write the inside in one line. Okay, so I'm just going to go, okay, well, x cubed minus x squared plus an x and minus 1. And then your last step is just to collect the like terms. Right? So these are your steps. So like this would be step 2, your answer for step 2, and your answer for step 3 should be the final one, right? So I'm going to identify that I see the x squareds together, and then I also see the two x's together, right? And then I can just collect them, right? So I'm going to go x cubed negative x squared. So I'm at negative 1 because there's a 1 here, and then there's a 1 on there. So 1 minus 1 is going to be negative 2 x squared. And then positive 1 plus 1 is going to be plus 2x squared minus 1. Okay, and that's your final answer. And that should match, actually, if I go up and take a look at C. I have x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake. That's not a squared. Plus 2x minus 1. So if I go up, that should match what I got from yesterday. Right here. So it matches. So that's good. Now I'm right because I've done it in 2 different ways and I've gotten the same answer. So then I'm good. Okay. So the table method can be really useful for questions like this one, actually, in particular, right? Where you have a trinomial, right, multiplied against a binomial, right? And then so we just break the question up into its pieces along in a table, and then I'm able to fill in the middle, and then that's it. That's the expanding process using the table method. Okay. So then I had a couple questions about. I'll do one question from number 2, a question from number 4, and a question from number 5. Okay, and then it's really pretty similar, just variances on the same sort of theme here, we'll call it. Okay, so let me just take a look at number 2. I think what's maybe throwing people off is maybe the negative that's out front of this question. Okay, so what's throwing people off is this negative that's sitting here, right? Now, when you do this, how about I'll do this in a few steps. So then as you get the hang of this, it will become easier, right? So let me just do, trying to think the best way to color code this. So I'm going to take this whole thing out front, right? Because this is a number. You have a number line, right? 5 has a positive sign on it, but if you're down here at negative 5, it's a number on the number line, so that you can't just ignore the negative, right? You have to take the negative with it. So I'm going to do this piece here. I'm going to do it in green. So I'm going to go negative 5 multiplied by negative x. You're going to get an answer, right? Then I'm going to do it again. Okay, so then I got to do in blue negative 5 multiplied against negative y. And you're going to get an answer. We'll do the math after. And then you'll do the last one. Negative 5 multiplied by positive z. Wow. That just equals negative 5z, right? Because a negative multiplied by a positive is a negative, right? But if I go up to the next question here, negative 5 multiplied by negative y, 2 negatives make a positive. So it's positive 5y, right? And then I'm going to go to the green one. Negative 5 multiplied by negative x. Well, 2 negatives again make a positive. And then it's 5 times x. So it's 5x, right? Your final answer here is going to be a combination of all three of these. So you're going to go 5x plus 5y minus 5z. That's your expanded. Now, I for the purposes of maybe learning this for the first time, you could totally do this work right here. Okay. As you get the hang of it, you should just be able to go like this and just keep track of the signs, right? And then you should be able to produce that quickly, right? Just keep track and know that this has to go into all of this, into all of this, into all of that, right? It's kind of 4 different pieces there. Okay. That's number 2. Okay, so you can just apply that to the other 2 questions that are there. Okay, or do as much practice as you need. Okay. We'll take a look at number 4 now. Let's see if I can pick an interesting one. I'll do F, because I don't think I asked you to do F. I asked you to do F. No. So I'll do F just so that you guys have a different question to see. So it's 2 multiplied by a plus 5. A minus 3. Okay, so you could do this a couple different ways. Okay, I typically like dealing with the number. I like getting the number in first, and this is just like the last question, right? So what I'll do here, I'll get the number in first. So your next line here is just going to be, I'm going to multiply the 2 into the first set of brackets. Okay, so I'm going to land with 2a plus 10, right? So 2 comes in, lands on the A, and then 2 times 5 is 10. Okay. Now, that's still multiplied against, don't forget this, A minus 3. Okay, and now you could choose, okay, do I want to do foil? Do I want to do rainbow? Or do I want to do table? How about for the purposes of this question, I'll do table, okay? So you can pick which one you want to do, right? So I'll do the table here. Okay. So you write both pieces, 2a, positive 10, and a minus 3, okay? And then you just fill in the middle, right? Remember, this is step 1. Step 2 will be to write all 4 pieces after you get them, the inside pieces. All right, so let's go ahead, and then 3, remember, is collect like terms. Okay, now we're good. Now we're good to do the actual steps here. So let's go to step 1, right? Step 1 is fill the inside in. So A, I'll do it in a different color. A multiplied by 2a is going to be 2a squared. Okay. And then I'm going to go, okay, A multiplied by 10 is going to be 10a. Okay. And then I'm going to go negative 3 multiplied by 2a. Well, 2 times negative 3 is going to be negative 6 with an a on it. And then negative 3 multiplied by 10 is just negative 30. Right. Okay. So then now we're good. We filled in the inside, so that's step 1 completed, right? We're good. Then we can go over to step 2, and we want to write all 4 things into one line. So 2a squared plus 10a minus 6a minus 30, okay? And then I'm going to jump down to that's step 2. Write all 4 things into one line. Now step 3 is collect the like terms, and by that I mean let's take the 2 things in the middle, right? Because they both have a's on them, right? And then rewrite the line, and this will be our final answer, okay? So 2a squared. Now 10a minus 6a is going to be positive 4a minus 30. That's your final answer. Okay, so that's 4f. Okay. And then with number 5, we'll do 1 and number 5, and then feel free to, if you're still stuck, send me some more messages and I can do more videos on more questions. Okay, so which one do we want to do? These are pretty long questions, so these take a bit of time. So let's do, how about I do D? D could be, but this time instead of using table method, I'll use distribution. It would go a little bit faster. Okay, so I'll write out 2x. So again, the question just is expand, right? And simplify. Okay, so expanding is actually doing in the table, right? But then simplifying is getting your final answer, right? So you got to do both. Okay. So again, you have 2x plus 3 multiplied against 3x minus 1 plus x. Okay. I'm just going to move this up. So you'll see here the reason why I'm using expansion, or sorry, distribution is this might go a little bit faster than having 2 tables. Okay, so what I'll do here is FOIL. You can do FOIL, you can do expansion on the first one because you get 2 binomials, right? So 2x multiplied by 3x and 2x multiplied by negative 1. Let's do that first. So 2x multiplied by 3x is going to be 6x squared, right? That's from the first one. And the second one is going to be from 2x multiplied by negative 1. Well, that's going to be minus 2x, okay? Then, and I jump down to the next one, I got to do the positive 3 that's in the bracket, right? So I'm going to go positive 3 multiplied by 3x, and I'm going to do positive 3 multiplied by negative 1. All right, so let's do that. 3 times 3x is going to be plus 9x. And then 3 multiplied by negative 1 is going to be negative 3. Okay? And then we've got one more to do. This is sitting in the brackets by itself, right? There's no number on this one. This was nice. So I can go x multiplied by 2x, and I can do x multiplied by 4, right? So let's do that. X times 2x is going to be positive 2x squared. And then x times 4 is going to be plus 4x. Okay? So I suppose this is your line in which you are doing all the expanding work, right? And then your next line is, okay, well, let's reorganize this so that I can collect all the like terms. So by that, I'm going to group the x squareds together. I'm going to group the x's together, right? And then I'm going to have the numbers by themselves. So let's just rewrite this line. 6x squared plus 2x squared, right? That takes care of these two. I don't see any more squared, so I can go to the next one, the next degree down. So I'm going to go negative 2x plus 9x plus 4x, okay? And then that takes care of this, this, and this, and then the only thing I have left is the 3, so I'm going to minus 3 on the end, okay? So then I'm going to go, okay, just going to start doing the math on it, right? So 6x squared plus 2x squared is going to be 8x squared. And then negative 2 plus 9x, sorry, negative 2x plus 9x is going to be 7x, right? Plus another 4, right? So what I'm doing is this guy right here. Okay, negative 2 plus 9, that's going to be 7. And then add another 4 is going to be 11. Sorry, yeah, 11. And that's your final answer. That's fully expanded and simplified. Okay. Now, as I'm talking here, I maybe realize that there's one more kind of part to 5, and I'll do 5a just so that you have it. And it's x plus 3 squared. Okay. So what's maybe giving people a little bit of a challenge here is this, and I talked about this at the very end of the video, I think, a little bit. So this is no different than if I had x squared, it would turn into x multiplied by x. So we're just going to do the same thing here. This is just x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 3. And then you could choose anything that you wanted to use. If you wanted the foil, if you wanted rainbow, or if you wanted table, you could pick any one of these 3 to expand this and simplify it, and then you'd get a final answer. So that's it for this one. If you have any more questions, just let me know, and I'll do them